Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Proverbs 31 Woman. Of course, I want to jump into this because it's always exciting. And no, I'm not in my normal background, in my normal setting in my office. Today, I am doing something different. I quite often like to say when I am traveling, I take you with me, and I don't give myself the opportunity to have an excuse why this does not get done. And today, I want to talk about the wealthy mindset code. It is a real thing that we find ourselves sometimes overthinking and over processing just the obvious, right? What's our purpose? Why we do what we do? Why were we called to be a leader and the stress is so hard? Well, I want to say that you're called to be a leader in the areas that you serve because you're the right person for the job. And you've got to know that you know that you know that you're doing the right thing and you're making a difference. That's the most important part, is that your purpose allows you to make a difference in whatever it is that you're doing. So Proverbs chapter 31 verse 16 says, she considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. That is a real thing, meaning that it's going to require you to do some work in this season in order for you to be able to be positioned to even consider the field and then buy it after the fact, right? I know that money is a byproduct of good products, good service, and good leadership, right? You want to make sure that we are aligning ourselves with our purpose and our call. And then Proverbs chapter 31, verse 25 says, strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. Yes, it might be hard right now, but soon and very soon you're going to have the opportunity to rejoice because of all the hard work that you put in. So, wealth begins in the mind, in your mindset, before it manifests in your hands. And so, before the Proverbs 31 woman ever touched money, land, or business, she mastered something far more powerful, and that was her mindset. She did not think like survival only, right? She did not think like scarcity and she did not think like fear, but she thought like legacy on a regular basis. And you want to make sure that you are thinking and processing future tense because it's going to make a difference. Scripture says, she considereth a field. The word considereth is not casual, but it implies strategic thinking, evaluation, vision, and discernment. She did not see just land, she saw opportunity. And she didn't just make money, she made moves. Can I just say that she made money moves? That's right. The Proverbs 31 woman was definitely on her assignment, and you'll find that she was making some big strides as a result. So this is the wealthy mindset code, is that wealth is not what you have, but it's also how you think. You want to make sure that your thinking is in alignment, first of all, with what the word says, but then more importantly to your task, your purpose, and the assignment that you have at hand. But there's a real problem, and I want to talk about that for just a moment. Many want wealth without rewiring their thinking. They feel like that they can stay who they are, doing what they do, and still make the money. You can make the money, but you might not keep it. You can make the money and it may not serve the purpose as you want. You can make the money, but may not be able to make more of it. So you want to make sure that you are in alignment with the assignment. So most people attempt to build wealth with a poor mindset. They fear investing, avoid risk taking, react emotionally, and think short term, right? Like, I need to make 5 grand in the next 30 days, and that's going to take me through. Or let me make $1 million and I'm going to be good. Hmm. Can I just say that $1 million is not what it used to be? $1 million today is like what $100,000 was 20, 30, 40 years ago. Okay. By the time you buy a house, buy a car, pay some taxes and buy other few niceties, yeah, you're gonna find that account, that $1 million went down real fast. So consider what it is that you're asking for. and then wonder why results remain the same. You'll find that when we are still in that scarcity mindset, the results will remain the same. Some people wonder why they can't break through $1,000 month or 10,000, $100,000 month is because of that very limited thinking. And it has some to do with the systems and the processes, or it can also be misaligned leadership as well. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of that, right? The Proverbs 31 woman, the leader here, operates differently, right? We as the Proverbs 31 women, we don't think like everybody else. Matter of fact, we don't act like everybody else. We're not doing the things that everybody else is doing. Why? Because first of all, we're in the league by ourselves. There is no competition when you're in your own lane, right? When you're in your own league. So the Proverbs 31 woman understands that if your thinking doesn't expand, then your life won't either. That it becomes a little bit harder for you to really accomplish some of those things that you have on your goals list. So the wealth mindset code has three dimensions. And number one is that the Proverbs 31 woman, you'll find, always thinks strategically and not emotionally. She does not move based on fear, pressure, or impulse. She evaluates, she still considers, and she still plans. Can I just remind you on today that no is a complete answer? Okay. And there's going to be some times that you're going to have to say that no so that you can get to the bigger part of the pie. So, emotional decisions drain your wealth, and strategic decisions builds it. Number two is that the Proverbs 31 woman, we always think in multiplication, right? Not maintenance. The scripture tells us that with the fruit of her hands, she planteth a vineyard. She didn't just earn the money, she reinvested it. She understood that income is temporary, but assets are generational. It becomes a legacy, right? So you want to take an inventory of those assets that you have over there, the books and the projects, the systems, the products that you have as well, right? So the Proverbs 31 woman's systems she built so that they could produce continuously. And number three, the Proverbs 31 woman always thinks long term and not immediately. So she rejoiced in time to come. That is scriptural. That's not my saying. That is in the scripture. Now, the Proverbs 31 woman makes decisions today based on tomorrow's results. Now, say that again. Is that we, the Proverbs 31 women, make decisions today based on tomorrow's results. And you've really got to look at big picture in order to be able to do that, right? I know that we say one day at a time, one step at a time, one mountain at a time. Yeah, that may be true. But when you are legacy thinking and your wealth mindset focused, tomorrow really does work, right? Like the stock market, they work on, they call them the futures, right? Because it's a prediction on what the market is doing future tense. So be sure that you are taking that into consideration. The Proverbs 31 woman is also not distracted by quick wins, right? She wants the big picture. Quick wins is how we get there, but one step at a time, right? And also she's committed to lasting impact. You want to make sure that you're making a commitment to win in this season. It's very easy to go back to who you was, doing what you were doing, being an average leader, but our next level requires growth and it requires a level of new maturity. So the edge here is wealthy thinking creates wealthy outcomes. So the Proverbs 31 woman has an internal advantage is that she sees differently, first of all. Where others see risk, she sees opportunity. Where others see delay, she sees preparation. Where others see effort, she sees investment. So the mindset of a Proverbs 31 woman allows her to move when others hesitate, and that movement creates results others cannot replicate. Like I like to say that nobody can beat me at being me, and nobody should be able to beat you at being yourself as well, right? Be the best version of you that you can be to yourself for yourself, right? That's a whole grown woman conversation right there, right? Be the best leader that you can be. Don't be afraid of training your replacement. Don't be afraid of helping people to create legacy. Don't be afraid of helping people to create millions. Don't be afraid of giving away those trade secrets, because why? It's the spirit behind it that makes you successful. So unless they embrace that and take that on, then it's only going to work as far as they allow it to, or they process it, or they use the system. Right? Come on. This is the time now that we get the opportunity to change things up a little bit, right? That I talked about that level of maturity. Yes, let's make some grown woman moves in this season, okay? So I always like to do a comparison with the Proverbs 31 woman versus, our modern day ladies nowadays, to see how we can compare. A Proverbs 31 woman trait is that she considers a feel, and the wealth code here is that she has strategic thinking. The Proverbs 31 trait is she buys it. And the wealth code mindset here says that she makes decisive action, right? That she thinks about it and implements. Number three is that she planted a vineyard. Well, the wealth code mindset is that she is all about that multiplication, right? Addition is nice, but when you multiply, right, you're growing by leaps and bounds exponentially. The Proverbs 31 woman trait is that she rejoices in time to come, and the wealthy mindset code is that there is long term vision. So you want to make sure that you're doing things that is going to make a difference. There is always an opportunity for us to look at a modern day story of a wealthy mindset in action. And here on today, I want us to consider Simone, right? She's a woman earning a stable income but living paycheck to paycheck. Can anybody identify on today? Knowing that things is working, but it's not working as fast as you would want it to. But here we see that Simone shift didn't begin with more money, it began with new thinking. She studied financial literacy, she began investing small amounts, and she created additional income streams. And within a few years, her life was transformed, not because she was lucky, not because she just decided that, oh, I'm going to do something different, but it was because she changed how she thought. And she started seeing herself being able to do it. And of course, she got it done. So I hope that encouraged you. Look, that is so good because you already see that when it comes to doing greatness and being great, opposition always tries to come out, right? But let's talk about the legacy activation. There's three steps to it. One is audit your thinking. Ask yourself, do I think like a builder or a consumer? Write down one belief about money that needs to change effective immediately. Number two is make one strategic move today, not emotional, not reactive, but intentional. It could be planning a new savings account. It could be investing, learning more about investing, and then making a plan on how you're going to spend those dividends, right? You got to see yourself in the future. And then number three, shift from income to ownership. Ask, what can I build that produces beyond me? Think assets and not just earnings. And of course, we want to get into the journal prompts. I always love to have time of reflection for the information that I learned. So, number one for the journal prompt is, what mindset patterns have limited my financial growth? Only you know what that is. Spend some time there, write it out, really dig into that and see what needs to change, what can be enhanced, and what can put you back on the right track. Number two, where can I begin thinking more strategically instead of emotionally? Of course, you know what that is. Go ahead and write about it. And number three, what does generational look like for my family? Are you ready to change your zip code? Are you ready to drive your dream car? Are you ready to build your dream house? Whatever that may look like for you and your family, what does that look like? Write that out. And our daily affirmation is this. I want you to repeat after me. I think like a legacy builder. My mind is aligned with wisdom. My decisions create wealth, and my life reflects strategic generational impact. And if you believe that, go ahead and give yourself a hand, right? You are on the verge of something amazing. And don't you forget that. And our word for the week is expansion. Your thinking determines your territory. Many of you are in place of leadership, but go ahead expecting an expansion and increase and some things to change. And as you're positioning yourself for this wealthy mindset, take all the excuses off the table of why you can't do this because I know that you can. It's just a matter of you putting in the work and making it happen. So Isaiah 54 verse 2 says, enlarge the place of my tent, spare not, lengthen thy cords, and strengthen thy stakes. Meaning, you know what? Prepare me for the next place that I'm going, my next dimension, not level, because a level is straight. I want to go into the next stratosphere, right? You want to add some commas and some zeros to those bank accounts. So remember, our word for the week is expansion. Your thinking determines your territory. It has been a pleasure, as always, for me to come and share this with you. I look forward to connecting with you again on next week. Remember, you can always follow me on all social media accounts as I am Dr. Tabitha at I am Dr. Tabitha, or you can go to my website, drtabitharussell.com, where I have some free resources. You can even take your wealth assessment to see where you are and find out those things that you need to work on. I look forward to connecting with you again on next week. Take care.